Justin Gachi just dropped a bombshell. He says he's done with the UFC unless he gets a title shot next. And that spells big trouble for Paddy Pimblett, whose title hopes may have just hit a brick wall. Let's break down the chaos unfolding in the lightweight division. Justin Gachi has made it clear, through his longtime manager Ali Abdel Aziz, that he will retire from mixed martial arts if he doesn't get a title shot in his next UFC appearance. According to Abdel Aziz, Gachi believes he has done more than enough to earn a fight for the vacant lightweight championship, and anything less would be a sign of disrespect. "If I don't fight for the title, I'm just gonna hang up my gloves," Gachi reportedly said, emphasizing that he no longer wants to take fights that don't move him directly toward the top. Gachi's frustration comes from a sense that the UFC hasn't shown him the same loyalty he's shown the organization. He has stepped up repeatedly on short notice, including his 2020 fight with Tony Ferguson for the interim belt, and has faced some of the toughest competition in the division. Despite a recent knockout loss to Max Holloway at UFC 300, Gachi rebounded with a strong performance against Rafael Fiziev, demonstrating that he's still among the elite at 155 pounds. His resume includes wins over Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler, and Edson Barboza, solidifying his legacy as one of the most exciting and dangerous lightweights of his era. Abdel Aziz underlined that Gachi is a very principled guy, who feels the UFC should reward his commitment with a title opportunity. If the promotion instead offers him another contender bout, such as the much-rumored matchup against Paddy Pimblett, Gachi has no interest. He views anything other than a title shot as a step backward and a waste of his remaining time in the sport. In summary, Gachi's ultimatum is not just about ambition, it's a stand for what he believes he has earned. It puts the UFC in a tough spot and leaves little room for negotiation. It's title shot or retirement. Before we get into how this shakes up the division for Paddy and the rest of the lightweights, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. MMA Thread brings you the real story behind the headlines daily. Paddy Pimblett's aspirations for a lightweight title shot have taken a significant hit following Justin Gaethje's refusal to fight anyone but the winner of Ilia Topuria vs. Charles Oliveira. Pimblett, who is undefeated in the UFC and riding a wave of momentum after dismantling Michael Chandler at UFC 314, was rumored to be in line for a high-stakes showdown with Gachi, potentially a title eliminator. Such a matchup would have been the biggest test of Pimblett's career and a defining moment in his pursuit of UFC gold. However, Gaethje's public declaration that he will retire rather than fight a non-title bout changes everything. If Gaethje refuses to face anyone but the new champion, that removes a marquee opponent from Pimblett's radar and effectively shuts the door on what would have been a huge pay-per-view opportunity and a fast track to a title shot. The UFC is unlikely to pressure Gaethje into a non-title fight given his status and resume, which means Pimblett will have to look elsewhere for his next opponent. This could mean Paddy is forced to fight a lower-ranked contender, which not only delays his trajectory toward the belt but also carries risk. A loss to someone with less star power than Gaethje could derail his momentum entirely. Despite Pimblett's growing fanbase and clean UFC record, critics still question whether he's ready for elite-level opposition, and the inability to secure a bout with a top-5 name like Gaethje may stall his rise at a crucial moment. In short, Gaethje's ultimatum doesn't just affect him, it reshapes the lightweight title picture and directly impacts rising stars like Pimblett, who are trying to break into the elite ranks. The UFC lightweight division is undergoing a major shakeup following Islam Makhachev's decision to vacate the 155-pound title and move up to welterweight. This creates a power vacuum at the top of one of the UFC's most competitive weight classes and opens the door for a new champion to emerge. The title will be decided at UFC 317 on June 29, when Ilia Topuria faces Charles Oliveira in a blockbuster main event. Topuria, a former featherweight champion, vacated his 145-pound title earlier this year to make a run at lightweight gold. Oliveira, on the other hand, is a former lightweight champion looking to reclaim the throne. The outcome of this fight will dictate the next phase of the division and heavily influence who gets the next title shot. While several contenders are in the mix, such as Arman Tsarukyan, Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, and Paddy Pimblett, many are either exiting the scene or facing complications. Holloway and Poirier are set to face off at UFC 318 in what is expected to be Poirier's retirement fight, effectively removing both men from immediate title contention regardless of the result. Tsarukyan, despite his elite skill set and high ranking, is reportedly on poor terms with UFC President Dana White due to a last-minute withdrawal from a fight with Makhachev in January, making him an unlikely pick for a title shot. That leaves Gachi and Pimblett as two of the most viable contenders. However, with Gachi refusing to fight anyone but the UFC 317 winner and Pimblett needing one more high-profile victory to prove he's ready, the UFC finds itself in a matchmaking dilemma. If Topuria or Oliveira is injured or unavailable, the promotion may be forced to reshuffle plans quickly, which could either open the door for Pimblett or extend his wait even further. In essence, the lightweight division is wide open but also highly volatile. The departure of Makhachev has created opportunities, but political dynamics, retirements, and personal ultimatums are complicating the UFC's ability to move forward cleanly with a clear contender path. What do you think? Does Gachi deserve the next title shot, or should Pimblett get his chance first? Drop your take in the comments, and if you want more updates like this, smash that like button and follow MMA Thread for all things UFC.